I was part of the dance act, so I'm down. They wanted to flip me like that girl, but I thought, no, you'd never understand. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you all. What a wonderful big crowd that is. Pleasure to be here. You know, I was thinking about when I was last in Miami. It's been some time, and even before that, I was filming a motion picture in the Miami area, and I was working with the guy who played Oddjob in Goldfinger, the Hawaiian wrestler Harold Sakata. And we were shooting at night, and we were at a car wash in Miami somewhere, and the scene called for me, the bad guy, to be up on the roof of the car wash and lasso Harold Sakata, who was a wrestler who had no neck, which is important because when I lassoed him, I was supposed to pull him up so that he was hanging, and then I jumped down and run off. That was the scene that we were shooting that night. So they rigged him with a harness and a wire in back, so when I pulled him, the guys behind the camera were pulling on the wire, so there was no neck rope, because otherwise he'd be hanging. And we didn't want Harold to leave this world. So we didn't rehearse it because it was so tricky. Just let's do it and see if it works. So they put the harness on, they put the wire on, the pulley up there, and then they rolled, and I lassoed him, and I did. I got the thing around his neck, and then I pulled, and those guys pulled, so Harold came up, and now, being a wonderful wrestler actor, you know, he's going, and I jumped down, and he's dangling, kind of dangling, and I'm thinking, he looks like a heavy bag, like a boxer's heavy bag, so I took a couple of punches at him, you know, and he's going, and I'm thinking, God, this guy is really good. He's acting like he's throttled. He's like he's hanging. It's a bang! I hit him again. And I run off. And as I'm running off, my inner brain says, he's acting too good. There's something bad going on here. And I turn around, and he's still going, and I realize he's actually choking. He weighs 300 pounds. And I pick him up, I lift him, because I realize now he's really, and they cut him down, and I saved his life, he says to me. You saved my life. Because what happened then was, as a Hawaiian, with that tradition of you save a man's life, he becomes your brother. Harold Sakata became my brother. Huh? He owed me his life, and he spent the rest of his life trying to make up, to do something for me. Nothing he could do for me, but it was in Miami that a man became my brother, and that's it. Which brings to mind, of course, actors doing their own stunts. I mean, you hear about actors saying, you know, I do my own stunts. Nobody does their own stunts, okay? I mean, I hear these famous actors saying, yeah, I climbed that mountain and I rode that motorcycle and I... See this little finger? If I hurt my little finger, and I go, and I'm filming, oh, God, no, I hurt my finger, and there was a cut, Bill hurt his finger. No, we can't film now, because my finger hurts. Imagine if I broke my leg, which I did once in a scene. So nobody does their own stunts, except me. So there's a moving train. The scene takes place on a train, on a diesel, and that's important because smokestacks, the coal-burning trains of old had a smokestack. They had all things on top of the engine, But diesels don't have anything on top. There's no protuberance, which is important because the scene called for me, another bad guy, to be on top of the train. And I said to the director before, when we got to the day of shooting that, I said, how are you going to shoot this? You're going to shoot it in a studio, like with a green screen? And he said, well, I don't know. Maybe we'll use a stuntman to get on the train. And I said, well, no, don't use a stuntman. How fast will the train go? He said, well, I don't know, 10 miles an hour. Okay, I'll get on the train. He says, well, let's start with a stuntman. So I'm watching the stuntman do it first. And even at 10 miles an hour, but the train went faster than 10 miles an hour, even at 10 miles an hour, with the wind blowing, the stuntman was leaning forward like this against the wind as the train's going this way. That's a foil. That's a flight foil. The wind is picking you up. So I see him like on his tippy toes as the wind at 10 miles an hour is blowing him up. Then, okay, I'll do that. So I get on the train. The train's going, this is like a 10-mile empty track that we were shooting on. And the train's going 10 miles an hour. And I do the thing with the bad guy, and we fight. And then when it's over, I said, how did it look? He said, well, it looked like it was going 10 miles an hour. Okay, let's try 20 miles an hour. I can do 20 miles an hour. So now, if at 10 miles an hour, you're like a flying, at 20 miles an hour, it's twice as much. Now I'm really getting airlifted off, and usually they would wire you, they would cable you off, like there'd be a cable here, a cable there. So if you fell, you wouldn't fall very far. There's nothing to cable off. If they had cabled me, I'd have been dragging along the side of the track.
Oh, God.
Cable would have been worse. So no cable. I'm going 20 miles an hour. I'm fighting the bad guy. Helicopter over here. How did it look? It looked like it was going 20 miles an hour. We finally got to 40 miles an hour. And there's no purchase. I'm not, my feet aren't on the stupidest thing I've ever done. I look back on that now. The elements of tragedy were there. It just never took place. I could have died. Instead of me being here, there would have been these girls jumping up and down. No, nobody does their own stunts because of insurance and the fact that you've hurt yourself slightly. You can't shoot, and that's hundreds of thousands of dollars a day being lost by the movie company. What else? There was another incident I wanted to talk about. I played a cop some years ago. T.J. Hooker was called. Thank you. Thank you. Those of you with a long memory. And the whole thing about this cop was that he would fling himself on the car of the guy. You know, there's this commercial where the bloodsuckers are on the windshield? That was me years ago. I'd fling myself on the car and bash the windshield in and get the bad guy. That was like T.J. Hooker. So we're shooting in San Pedro in downtown, whatever that is, downtown San Pedro, I guess. And I jump on the car, and the headlines of the local paper is T.J. Hooker shooting and Shatner's jumping on a car. 2 days later, we're finished. We're back up in Hollywood. 2 days later, a cop arrests a bad guy and cuffs him, and then something else takes place. So he cuffs him to something or other and runs after another bad guy, and this bad guy gets out of the cuffs and gets into the police car that the guy had and starts to drive away, whereby this cop that had arrested him runs after the police car, jumps on the police car, and gets the bad guy by doing a T.J. Hooker. And the headlines of the San Pedro paper next day is, Sergeant so-and-so does a T.J. Hooker. Jumping on those cars, that's when they would cable you off, because they're going now 40, 50 miles an hour and skidding around, and I'm on the hood of a car. Don't do that. Question.
Okay, if I'm the one to start us off, first of all, Shabbat Shalom, Mr. Shatner.
Shabbat Shalom?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But, sorry,
My
I may have said
Shabbat
it wrong.
average was 250.
Blessed Sabbath. My question, just start us off already on a weird note, is I have...
Already on a weird note by
Yes.
talking to you?
Yes.
Or what I was talking about?
No.
What's the weird note?
Here's the question.
Oh, that's the weird note.
I have a comedic friend who made a whole joke that you would be the best Baptist minister ever because you know
I
the
am.
cause.
Heal yourself and ask a weird question.
And that was the question, is I would love to hear William Shatner
Heal
do a
yourself
sermon.
with a question that you want to ask weird. Weirdly, heal yourself. Get on your knees. Get on your knees. Hail to the right now. There you're not. Okay, my friend. Rise and go forth and stumble somewhere and fall down on your head.
I love it.
What's your weird question?
I hope it's not too weird. First of all, congratulations and thank you for 50 years of Star Trek.
Thank you. Okay, that's weird enough.
All the fans appreciate you all these years hanging in there and doing all that you have. But you've had your hands in so many things.
I know, and people have complained.
You know, actor, director, comedian. Is there anything that you would like to do maybe in the future?
I walked down South Collins Avenue last night. Wow, there are a lot of things I would like to have done. Oh, wow. I'm telling you. There's a GoPro here. I recognize that. Look at the angle. There's a camera right here. Now, I sort of direct sometimes. Think of the angle. Is that a GoPro angle or what? Yeah, sometimes you get a crop shot like that in the head, and then I don't know. What would I like to do? Which brings to mind, what am I doing, right? What am I doing? Okay, I'll tell you what I'm doing. First and foremost, were you here for Henry Winkler? Yeah. All right, Henry has become a buddy of mine. I knew him. Let me tell you a story about Henry Winkler. It's really beautiful. It's a beautiful story. How I got to know Henry Winkler and how I spent my summer. Okay. So I've got an office in a building in the San Fernando Valley, in a busy area of the San Fernando Valley. And, you know, I just burped up that steak, that Cuban steak that's very flat and onions. Second time around, it's not good. So. How I got to know Henry Winkler while doing my summer job. So I got this office, and there are windows, and people pass by on their way into the building. They pass by these windows. Mostly they can't see in because it's lighter outside than it is inside. But those people inside, like me, can see outside. So I'm doing whatever I'm doing, and I look out, somebody's passing by. It's Henry Winkler. Henry Winkler's walking by my office. Where's it going? I know there's some casting offices and stuff in there, and continue my work. There's Henry Winkler going back out. 15 minutes later, I run out the door. Henry! I sort of know him vaguely. Henry! Oh, it says Bill. I said, come on in here. What are you doing? He sits down, and he says, I just did a terrible audition. I said, what are you talking about? He said, no, I'm so depressed. I was up for a job, and I just did a terrible. I said, Henry, you're a wonderful actor. You can't do a terrible audition. You might not feel right, but it has to be good, Henry. No, it was just. No, Henry, I'm telling you, I know things. I'm a director. I'm an actor. I know talent. You're a talented man, and you couldn't have done a bad audition. You really think so, Bill? I know it. Oh well, I feel better now. And he walks out, he talks about that moment where he was so depressed and he left feeling good about himself. So, cut about a year later, Henry Winkler, Terry Bradshaw, George Foreman, and me seeing Asia, called Better Late Than Never, August 23rd. NBC. He mentioned it, did he? Well, it's hysterical. First of all, you got Henry Winkler, right? My bucket list was this: catch a pass from George Foreman. No, from Terry Bradshaw. Get in the ring with George Foreman and have Henry Winkler make me laugh. That was my bucket list. I'm fading back, and I catch a pass from Terry Bradshaw. I caught a pass from the four-time MVP player in the Super Bowl. I caught a pass from Terry Bradshaw. I get in the ring in Thailand. I get in the ring with George Foreman. Now remember what I said about Harold Tanaka, eh? So I'm got George Foreman, two-time heavyweight champion of the world, and I give him a pop. George Foreman tried to trip me, but I didn't let him. Anybody ever see this interview show I did called what did I call it? Raw Nerve. 3 people out of 1,000. Those were our ratings too, by the way. I love to talk to people. I love to find out about them, discover their secrets, like Leonard Nimoy, who's my dear friend, and I wrote a book about him. In this interview in Raw Nerve, he told me a story that he'd forgotten completely because of this conversational thing meandering down these conversational paths. He says to me, my grandfather, living in my father's house, when I'd come home from Hollywood and come back to my father's house and visit there, my grandfather, one day I discovered his fingers in my shoe. What was he doing? He's a leather worker, says he's a leather worker, says Leonard. And he's feeling the leather in my shoe to see if I'm making any money or not. If my shoes are too worn, he knows I'm not making any money. And that's how my grandfather kept up with how I was doing as an actor, by feeling my shoes. So it's such a weird, wonderful story. Leonard hadn't thought of that in years. So I'm talking to George Foreman, and George says, when I was a kid on the street, I was a killer. I mean, I was a bad boy. I was angry all the time. And when I had fights, I wanted to kill him. When I got into the ring, I wanted to kill him. And the worst thing that ever happened to me was when Muhammad Ali beat me. I said, God, I want to kill him. I got into my dressing room after the fight, he said, and I realized, my God, I'm so angry. There's something wrong with me. And he quit for 10 years. George Foreman stopped fighting when he was 30. When he's 40, he said, I went back. I said, why'd you go back to fighting? He said, well, I looked around the table at all the Georges. He named all his children George. And I looked at all the Georges, and they were all doing the same thing. They wanted to eat. That's why he went back into fighting. So he said, I went back into fighting, but now I had found God, and I had found, I wasn't a killer anymore. And now I was better at it. So now, imagine what the camera's getting now. So now I'm jabbing. Pow! And all those years of God and peace and religion fall away. And the killer inside George emerges. And he takes this massive fist, goes whack! And I fall back against the ropes in front of my knees. And it was part of my bucket list. I fought George Foreman in the ring. We mostly faked it, but don't that. My water, how did my water get down here? Hey. See, that's a good angle. They'll use that shot. So that was part of my bucket list. Then, Henry Winkler told me a joke. Made me laugh. Here's the joke. An old lady decides to have cosmetic surgery. And she goes to the cosmetician. Wait a minute. She says, I think the beginning is, she says to God, God, I'm an old lady, but if you could give me a few years, just I don't know whether to do this cosmetic thing or not, but if you could give me a few years just to enjoy the cosmetic surgery. And somehow she gets the answer, go do the cosmetic surgery, my dear. She goes to the cosmetic surgeon, works on her, and then she emerges months later. Oh my God, you can't believe the difference between this wrinkled old lady and now she's beautiful. She walks out of the cosmetic physician's office and gets hit by a bus and is killed. She goes to the pearly gates. She sees God. She says, God, I thought you said, give me some years. I did this cosmetic surgery because I thought I would be living. Why did you do that, God? And God said, I didn't recognize you. Henry Winkler made me laugh. I finished my bucket list. 4 shows on NBC. A book called Leonard, my 50-year friendship with a remarkable man. It's out there right now. And in September, Zero G, a science fiction novel I think is really good. You ought to remember it and take a look at it. I was over there. I'm over here. Yes, what's your question?
Hi, how are you?
I'm so good. What about you?
Nervous.
Are you good?
I'm nervous.
You're nervous?
Yeah.
Where do you feel the nervousness? Where? You feel it in here, in here, in here. Where do you feel it? In here? I had a Cuban coffee just a little while ago. You know, when I was a kid, the odd drug, the figure, nothing like Cuban coffee. I'm telling you, Cuban coffee's where's that? And I had the Cuban coffee 10 o'clock this morning. What time is it now? It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. How am I going to sleep? Are you nervous still? Have I made you feel, have I relaxed you by talking a little bit? Okay, so some more. Wait a minute, we're going to work on it. We're going to work on you not being nervous.
I'm ready.
Okay?
I'm ready.
Take a deep breath. Right into the microphone. I want to hear it. Now, sing the national anthem.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
So first, yeah. Oh, say, come on.
Oh, say, can that's it.
That's much better. How do you feel now? Worse.
I just got to ask.
Okay.
Okay.
What's your question?
It's a comment.
What?
It's a comment and a question.
It's a comment,
Comment
and a question.
and a question.
Okay. Which is which?
The comment is first.
The comment is first.
Yes. When they killed you off as Captain Kirk.
Yes.
I was crying.
Me too. Tears running down my. Why are you doing this?
I thought that I was so unfair.
I was. I agree with you. Where were you when I needed you?
So, my question is.
Yes.
Did you have fun? Was your last You had fun, your dying words.
Did I have fun?
That was your dying
Dying?
words? Your dying
No,
words.
dying's not fun. Dying is very, I think dying is painful. I don't know. I suspect dying is painful. I don't want to die. Remember that when I'm dead, okay?
Okay. Okay, and my question is, would you have rather been left in the Nexus, or do you like the way they ended your character on Star Trek?
Left in the Nexus. Yeah. Left in the Nexus. What the hell is that? What's left in the Nexus? What does that mean? What is the Nexus?
The ribbon.
Is that the next thing, or is that us against the What is Nexus? What is your definition of Nexus?
The ribbon. When you were.
Is it what?
The ribbon. When you were in the ribbon back in time and you were.
Oh, you go back in time. I'd like to go back in time and wait for another 100 years. With the horse.
Yes.
I'm with the horse.
Yes.
Now, in the Nexus, I'm with a horse. That's not bad company. My wife might object, but hell, it's a great horse. Would I rather be in the Nexus or would I rather be dead?
Are you glad they ended your character that way?
No! I didn't want to die. The moment I died, I had a book called The Return. I had written a book on how to come back. I said, hey, I'm dead. Here's how I can come back. I said, no thanks.
I think it was a shame.
You read it. It's pretty good. It's good. It's good. Is it better than what? Yes. What did you say? Abort. Abort? Aboard. A Borg. Yes.
I just want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk with you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much. Are we having fun now? Yes. We're having fun. Yes, sir.
Hello, Mr. Shatner. It's like
Wait a minute. Right into the microphone, nice and loud, like
Hey,
me.
It's a pleasure to be here and speak to you. I'm really interested in what you thought about filming the first on-screen interracial kiss and what aftermath you had to deal with it.
The aftermath of the interracial kiss.
Yeah, I'm sure it must have been difficult. You got
No, it was heaven. She's a beautiful lady.
yeah, I imagine.
Beautiful lips. Somewhat moist. Slightly parted. I gently brushed her with my own mouth. Inhaled her fragrance. Tried to press a little harder, she resisted. I gave up immediately. I was very kind and very gentle.
Respectable.
She liked that. And that's it.
Yeah, that
good
sounds
with
about right.
It covers the surface of a whole sexual moment, but this is a big crowd and there are kids here. Otherwise, I'd go further. But I can't. You good with that?
Yeah.
I'm good with that. Hey, doing sexual scenes in a movie. What's the name of the policewoman? Angie Dickinson. Okay, so Angie Dickinson, is she still alive? Is she? I have lost track. She doesn't know whether I'm alive. I don't know whether she's alive. She's alive. Beautiful woman. Beautiful woman. Beautiful young woman, too. Ooh, she was beautiful. And I did a movie with her, which called for a nude scene. How old are you?
I'm 12.
12? You're 12. Put your hands to. Okay. So it required, nude scenes in movies is no fun. Because, about the number of people down in front here. Are you special because you're down front? No? You're special? Yeah, some of you are nodding yes, and those of you who are meek and mild are saying no, but some of you are saying yes. So those of you who are nodding yes, you're special. And you think of yourself as special. So about the same number of the people right here are the number of people on a set, okay? So if you're nude, it's not only not exciting, it's kind of like, oh, don't look at me. I mean, women wear little pasties or little things. You're nude in front of strangers. That's how you get information about the enemy. You put them out there nude, and they'll say, yes, no, they're coming in through the door, and there's 7 of them, and they got backpacks. Don't shoot me nude. So we had a meeting at the director's house before going to film. And the director said, Angie, how do you feel about that? About being nude. And she said, well, I don't know. I suppose if you got rid of everybody but the cameraman, I guess I could do it. So he said, well, we'll do that. We'll just have 2, 3 people, the necessary people, the lighting, sound guy, camera guy, because we'll cut all these people. They'll get off the set. And Bill, how do you feel about it? I said, well, that's what Angie wants. That's what I want. I'm good with that. So Angie started work a week before I did, a week before the nude scene was called for. And so she got to know everybody. Now I come on the set a week later, and we're going to do the nude scene. Oh, God, we're going to do the nude scene. All right. So now, according to the agreement, the director says, all right, all the unnecessary personnel, all you special people, leave. Just the cameraman, okay, the lighting guy, makeup, you gotta go, and they start to leave. And I just, no, wait, makeup couldn't stay, makeup. Dick, it's okay, you can stay. All right. No, wait, Angie says, the grip can stay. Freddie, that's all right, you. George, no, George, it's all right, you. One by one, she starts calling them back. She has all the special people standing around. Everybody. She was perfectly all right. There I am, nude, getting into the bed. And I'm going, oh. It's awful. It's painful. Nudity, sexual thing. All those people. Raise out your head a little higher, get your arm around there, get your front, go, okay, now make love. Come on. Okay, you can take your fingers out from your ears.
I want to say thank you and...
No, wait a minute. What's your name?
Vanessa.
Vanessa. Right into the microphone, Vanessa, and a louder voice so we can all hear you.
Okay.
Perfect.
I want to say thank you, and this is my first convention that I've been to. So,
Yes. Are you having fun?
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun.
Good.
I want to know if you remember any funny stories you remember when filming Star Trek with DeForest Kelley, involved.
Uh-huh. Yes, I do. Oh, you want me to tell them?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Vanessa. DeForest Kelley was a wonderful Southern gentleman. He was a lovely, lovely man. He died with being senile, actually. I don't know whether it was Alzheimer's, but it was really bad. He and his wife both were at the Actors Hospital in Los Angeles. Both dying of the same thing. It was remarkable. I went to see them, and I'd see them. Carolyn was in one room, and Dee was in another. It was really sad. I said to Carolyn, I so vividly remember saying, trying to make conversation, and where did you come from? What part of the country did you? Just don't ask me that. She started to cry because she couldn't remember. It was really very sad. DeForest and I had a wonderful relationship. I thought of him as a dear, dear man. Didn't see each other socially particularly, but I thought of him as a friend. One of the funnier moments was his dog. He had those little Yorkshire, but a toy Yorkshire. They're about that big. The little fluffy ears. They look like a large rat. You know? I mean, I'm a dog man. I breed Dobermans. Doberman's a dog. Put your hand down there, you feel your dog. Right? That's a dog. This is a rat. And I would tell DeForest that every so often. You got a little rat, a little rodent for a dog, for a pet. No, I wouldn't tell him that, but I was thinking that. How could you? Here, don't be careful where you sit. You're liable to sit on my dog. What kind of a dog is that? This is a dog. protect me. Ah, that's a good dog. So one day, DeForest came in, and he was crying, weeping. His dog died, been killed. I said, oh, gee, DeForest, I'm so sorry. How'd he die? He said, well, I was out walking him, and he ran into a sprinkler head. I started to laugh. He didn't speak to me for 2 weeks. It's true. Oh my God. But I'm only, a Yorkshire, a toy Yorkshire. Everybody to their own. I mean, they're cute little dogs and great dogs. I'm saying that so that I don't alienate those people who have small dogs.
Hello, Mr. Shatner, and
Hello.
please bear with me while I struggle to get this out, because I had hoped to be able to tell Leonard, but that's going to have to wait for another life. So I'm going to tell you. My first encounter with Trek was my sophomore year of high school.
Wait. Your first what?
My first experience with Star Trek
Yes.
was my sophomore year of high school. Mm-hmm. There was an older gentleman who taught English.
Ooh, wait a minute. That's very exciting. It was your sophomore year in high school, and an older gentleman did what?
Taught English.
Uh-huh.
When we walked in, there was a bronze mirror, and above it, a picture of Leonard as Spock.
Ah.
We were all confused because none of us understood. We were in our teens, and like me, my family wasn't really into Trek when it was originally released.
Uh-huh.
So we were confused, and he told us, he's like, that's because when you leave this classroom, you're going to be a little bit more like Spock. You're going to have a little bit more pointed ears, and you're going to be able to use your logic. It made me a better person.
What did he mean by that?
Basically, in class...
To me, I would have been, who is this professor?
We did find him strange at first, but I will tell you that what it did was it taught me how to use facts. It made me a better scientist. It made me a better
How
person.
wonderful.
And so for me, you, Leonard, everybody who has ever played a part in Trek inadvertently saved my life and made me the person I am today. So on behalf of you and everybody else, I am and shall always be grateful for that eternally.
Wow.
And it's an honor to meet you. It's an honor to tell this story.
That's so beautiful.
And I may be younger. I can respect what was and what will be. So for you, what was a moment in your life where you knew that this is going to change me? This is going to make me who I am. This is going to be the Bill Shatner that people are going to adore. Do you have that moment in your life?
I'm at this moment right now. You know, what you've described is the essence of the value of science fiction. Science fiction, I wrote a book on why you people are here called Get a Life. And then I did a film documentary called Get a Life. And the conclusion I reached in the book was you're here because of each other, not to see the actors, but to see each other renew. That was the due diligence on the book, the conclusion of the book. When I did the film documentary, we went further, and I made a discovery, which is part of my life, and hopefully part of an answer to your question. Discovered that science fiction is really mythology. In the same vein that religion seeks to explain the inexplicable, and you take it on faith, and this is the way your religion works, science fiction seeks to explain dark matter, time travel, UFOs, life on other planets, species that are not carbon-based. We don't know anything. We know nothing. Quantum physics has taught us that we know nothing. There's such weird, strange things that, as vivid as the imagination of science fiction writers can be, doesn't come close to what we're looking at, peering at around corners that science is showing us how weird, how strange, how beautifully wonderful the universe is. Science fiction attempts to explain it in imaginative terms, and it forms a sort of mythology, which is what we're all doing here. Like, wow, isn't that strange and wonderful? The Greeks, 2,500 years ago, 3,000 years ago, discovered large bones that we now know are dinosaur bones. But they had no explanation. So they made a mythology. They made up a story that explained the bones. They said there must have been a race of giants. And they must have lived over those Olympus mountains there. And then maybe the gods and the giants fought and mankind was in murder. And they had a whole mythology trying to explain dinosaur bones. Science fiction is trying to explain the dinosaur bones of today. And that's what we're all doing here. Thank you very much. What a nice time.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. William Shatner.